Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about how I trade with a full-time job part 2. I did make a video a while back and basically it was called how to trade with a full-time job and not look at charts all day, mainly because when I first started I was doing it wrong and now I know that you don't need to look at charts. Go ahead and check that out. There's definitely a lot of good nuggets inside of that video. Today is basically just an expansion of what I talked about there, some of the things that I've learned. Basically, we are going to talk about why you should keep your job and the importance of that, and what happened when I only relied on trading income before I was fully ready, why I went back to work, what I do now, and then how I plan to improve this system. So this is definitely something that you want to take notes on. Why you should keep your job. The biggest thing is going to be stability. As a trader or as a new trader, you know that the income from trading is not consistent at all. You know, one day or 1 month, week, or however you gauge your income from trading, it could vary widely. So stability is going to be that thing where you have enough to take care of your life and your situation. In trading, I just kind of see that as something extra at this point. So it's also better for your trading psychology. Basically, when I was just trading and that was my only source of income, there were some decisions that I made that weren't the best. We'll talk about all those decisions in a second, but just know that losing streaks will happen, as you probably have experienced. Also, you'll have those winning streaks. So it's definitely good to have that extra source of income, whether it's from a job, investment, trading, or some totally different venture that you may have. So just having those multiple streams of income obviously are always great. I want to talk about what happened when I only relied on my trading income before I was fully ready. So we talked about the fact that trading is not stable. We all know that, but I just really wanted to emphasize that here. And then next, I made bad decisions on trades and also developed really bad behaviors. So basically some of those things was forcing trades, because in my mind, it's like, okay, if I take this trade based on my risk to reward ratio, I can make X, and then that'll be enough to pay my car note, or that'll be enough to pay health insurance, or something like that. So it just wasn't a good mindset to be in. So I was forcing trades. And then I also took too many trades, because at that time I had the mindset that when I'm in the market, I can actually make money. Now I know the opposite is true, is that when I spend more time to focus on my analysis and come up with a game plan, a really good game plan, then in not taking trades every single day, I actually make more money. And then I also have the ability to keep more of that money as well. That was one thing. And then revenge trading, trying to make my money back. I remember this because it's like, oh man, like I just spent, let's just say my car note money. My car note is like almost $800 a month. So I have a really, really nice car. But basically, trying to make that money back. I mean, I had some money in savings, but of course you don't want to dip into your savings. So that's, another reason why people trade. That's definitely why I still trade and I just overall enjoy it. But revenge trading, and then also I over leverage. So basically putting too much money into a trade, because we all had these scenarios where it's like, oh, if this goes up, 5x, 10x, depending on what it is, then I can make X number of dollars. You start putting it into a calculator, you start using all these other different calculators. And for me, I did this twice in 1 week and I lost 30K in 1 week over leveraging. This, I remember this specifically, it was options trades on Amazon, and I want to say the other market was Tesla. Now I have made money from those markets since then. This was a couple years ago, but it still kind of hurts to, think about that 30K loss. And I just know that all the work and things that I'm putting in, eventually I'll have, a 30K week. So yeah, definitely still working on that. And after this happened, I stepped away from the market for about a week or two. I can't remember exactly, but basically, I was like, oh my gosh, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't I still had, more than twice that amount of money inside of the bank and also in other accounts. So I had the money, but still to lose that amount of money, when you think about it, it's like this is a car, this is, some other thing. But basically I came up with a better game plan to improve my trading. And then part of that game plan was to go back to work. mainly because I didn't want to just see my savings and all of that just dwindle away. I went back to work, a big portion of that outside of the losses, because like I said, I had more than double that amount that I lost in that week inside of multiple accounts. So I had money, which is cool. But I went to Ivy League school and I got an MBA degree or master in business administration. So those were coming up soon. At that time, there was a lot of deferments because of stuff that happened years ago. And, I was like, there's nothing really forcing me to go back to work. But then once I saw the bill, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should go back to work. And then too, like I said, I just didn't want to use my savings in order to pay for bills and also fund my trading accounts and stuff like that. So I wanted to be able to consistently add to my trading accounts as I made money. So if you're putting money in every week, month, or however, so I do it every 2 weeks. So I put money in every 2 weeks, and then if I made money that week and got the money that I was going to put in anyway, then I have a larger account to play with in terms of growing that account. So when you see things about like how people grew, an account from some lower amount to a higher amount, they're typically adding money to it along the way. It's not 100% from trading, because the larger account that you have, of course, the more risk that you could possibly take on that account, and you could potentially make more money from that. So basically it's just all good. Like I said, it grows faster when you're able to do that. So I do this every 2 weeks, and essentially I take about 10% of my take-home pay each month and I put it into 2 accounts. So I have a long-term account and then I have a trading account, and I'm actually looking to move this around a little bit, but basically it's going to be roughly 10%. And I just got a raise at work, so of course that 10% is going to be a little bit higher, which is great. Set this up automatically so I don't have to think about it. Oh, actually I do put some money also in crypto, so I do buy a little bit of BTC every single week as well. So it's still like 10-12%, somewhere around that. Nothing too crazy. I could still take care of everything else that I need to do and grow my trading accounts at the same time. So the other thing is having peace of mind. So if you lose trades, like, it's okay, because you know that in 2 weeks or however often you decide to set this up, you're going to have money coming into that account. So that way you can keep trading at the same amount. So for instance, if you risk, let's just say $100 a trade, and you lose a trade, you lost $100, and you have 200 coming in, at the end of the week or at the end of the month or however, then it's still going to be good. Your account is still going to be growing as long as you can keep your losses small. So that's another thing as well. And then also trading, we know at this point that it's all about probabilities. So probabilities can definitely work in your favor. So what I do now that I work a full-time job, so my job at times can be really demanding. I'm a senior leader working in technology. So it's a lot at times, but other times it's pretty chill. So what I do now is I time block. So basically the concept of time block is I put on my calendar specific times I want to do certain things. And I'm going to give you the full breakdown in a second. But basically, it's just a focus period of time. And one thing that I do actually have right here is a timer that I use and make sure that I'm staying on time. So for some people, this could be a bit much, but for me, it is amazing. And I don't always use the timer. I just look at the clock, but having the timer and seeing the time count down, it's like, okay, like, it helps me refocus my attention, especially if it drifts and think about something else that I need to do. I look at the clock, I refocus, and then I'm back doing the thing that I need to be doing in that block of time. And it's not just something I use for trading. I use it literally throughout my entire life, and it's been the greatest thing ever. So I get up a little bit earlier, at least 90 minutes before I start work. So let's just say hypothetically, if I started at 8 o'clock in the morning, then I get up at least 90 minutes before that. So a lot of times I try to do 2 hours before in order to give myself time to shower. If I'm taking a shower in the morning, most times I do it at night. Obviously all the stuff that we do to get ready for the day. So, and then make myself some tea or coffee or something like that. So I just kind of want to have time for that. And in that time, I do analysis. So I look at the market, especially if I'm trading something like US 30 or GJ or something like that. There are movements in the Asian session and also movements in the London session. So when I'm looking at it in New York, I adjust my analysis based on what has happened in the past. So that's the kind of analysis that I do. And then of course I take trades. If I see my setup, I'm taking a trade. And after work, because sometimes you get bogged down. Well, a lot of times, especially at my job, I get bogged down in meetings, and then there's projects and things that I need to work on. So, I have my time blocking, but it's for work because I'm at work. After work, I do one or a combination of these things I'm about to talk about in a second. But basically, analysis, 30 minutes to an hour. I back test. And this is roughly 30 minutes. I try not to back test for super long periods of time, just because at one point I didn't find back testing interesting to me. I did not back test at all. And I've come to learn over time that back testing is important. So in order for me to not feel overwhelmed, I limit it to 30 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour. This is actually how I found out the best days and time to trade in order to maximize your profits, my profits, whatever. But this is actually a really good video for you to go ahead and check out, because I do break down some more of these things in that video. But backtesting is the way that I found out what works for me and the things that I am trading. So another thing I do is study the markets for 30 minutes to an hour. So you may be thinking, okay, well, in my situation, I get off work around 5, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, just depending on how crazy things are and what's going on. But generally, it's around 5, 5:30. I do a combination of these things, and you can see it takes 30 minutes, an hour, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So, you can carve out, generally, most people can carve out 1 hour of time in their day to do some or combination of these things. So for me, that means watching less TV. So I do eat dinner typically in the 6 o'clock hour, and that includes, sometimes making it, maybe prepping before, or ordering something, or whatever we feel like doing. But I am watching TV in that time, so it's like a nice little break. But I do limit that time in order to make sure that I'm able to do analysis, backtesting, and studying the markets or whatever. So anything related to the market, it's just like anything, you have to put time into it. Like it's not just going to work by osmosis, where you're watching videos like this and you just absorb it. Okay, I got it, I'm good, I can be a profitable trader now. Like it takes time. Even if you coach or if you're getting trading coaching from someone, I do offer that, or a course. I don't have courses, I just do trading coaching. But course, whatever it is, you have to put in that time in order for you to be able to become better, learn the things that you need to work on. And this is basically all of these things here. I'm just doing the same things over and over again to help me become a better and better and better and better and more profitable, most importantly, trader. So that's just what I do. And then when it comes to the weekend, this is when I can obviously spend a lot more time on the market and doing the things that I need to do. So the way my work schedule is set up, we have something which is called flex time, or like a compressed work schedule. So essentially, I get every other Friday off, and that's amazing because I can spend that Friday, maybe, I still get up earlier, but I don't have to go to work. So that means that I can actually look at the market throughout the day. I do cut myself off essentially around 11 o'clock a.m. especially on a Friday. Maybe it's even earlier, but it just depends on what's happening. But I'm able to look at the market a little bit longer, and maybe a trade may appear, maybe not. But typically I like to close my trades over the weekend. So this would essentially be a day trade for me if I was taking a trade on Friday. But I spend my time journaling, reviewing my trades. So a lot of times during the week, I should add this. I don't always get a chance to add my trades to my trading journal. Oops, JOURNAL. Journal. So this is more of an after work thing, of course, but I don't always get the opportunity to do this. And this typically takes me 30 minutes to 1 hour. Sometimes I have to do multiple sets of these, where say if I took a lot of trades in the week and there's a lot more I want to say, I may have to do 2 sets of these, but typically that's happening on the weekend. And the fact that I don't take a whole bunch of trades throughout the week, it does make journaling easier. So like I said, that takes maybe 1 to 2 hours. I typically do that on Saturday mornings. And if I'm at home, this week I was traveling and I didn't really take any trades anyway. But I still need to journal those things. And I'll do that today after this video. And so it gives me time to back test. So maybe a little bit longer, do analysis, make a video. So I literally just made a video where I was streaming the market that I'm looking at for this upcoming week, and then also putting my trading plans inside of that. So basically it's like free signals for you all. You are welcome. But it doesn't take a whole lot of effort for me in order to do that. So that may take 1 to 2 hours. This is the second video I'm shooting today. So, just trying to do things where I get the most bang for my time. So in this case, I talked about this. This is a video that I made. So basically I was doing GJ and US 30. So this is literally like my entire trading plan for these 2 markets in that given week. But basically it gives you the background. I tell you what I am thinking and why I am thinking that. I haven't seen anybody do that when it comes to doing breakdowns or chart analysis. So people tend to love it, so go ahead and check that out. But one of the things that I plan on doing to improve this system is, of course, increasing the amount of money that I add to my trading accounts. So basically growing the accounts by adding more money from my main stream of income, and that's for my job. And then also as I gain in trades, then the account will grow as well. Now, I do take a profit from my accounts, and it's usually, maybe like 50% of whatever the gains were for that week. Obviously, if there's no gain for that week, I'm not taking money out, but just trying to take that money and reward myself, maybe a nice brunch, or depending on how much it is. Like I just bought some Gucci shoes this past couple of days ago, so that was awesome. But basically just little things to just kind of treat myself. But of course, I'm still growing the account. Of course, I'm still adding money to that account or these accounts and growing them that way. And then the next thing, prioritize back testing. So you come to different points in your trading career where you're in this learning mode, you're learn, you're consuming a lot of content. Now I'm kind of in a phase where I've learned quite a bit, and now I'm just kind of looking at what I've done and trying to improve on that. I'm making content on this. Not everybody makes content, of course, but it's basically I'm just documenting my journey, and you're just here along for the ride and getting the benefit of all of these different phases that I've been in. So I have a couple videos from a couple years ago. That was more when I was earlier in the journey. Definitely a lot of lessons learned there. I showed some wins, some losses, and a whole bunch of other things in between. Now I'm at this phase in my trading where, okay, like I understand some of the basics, and you'll get to this point too, but I understand the basics and I want to continue to scale up my trading. So I'm looking at like how would it look if I added to this trade, because I didn't do that for the longest time. How can I, where can I add to trades in order to follow the momentum and increase my profits? How can I look at more volatile markets and be able to benefit? So that's where back testing comes in, especially for me and where I am in my journey. That's going to be something that I'll definitely, maybe not necessarily increase the time I do it, maybe stick with these 30-minute to an hour blocks on the weekend, but increase the amount of times in a week I do it. So at this point, it's only like 1 or 2 times a week, but maybe, 3-4 times a week would be beneficial. I just like to play around with it and just see what works for me, and you'll be doing the same thing for yourself. And this is a really cool video right here. I made this a couple years ago, literally my trading strategy. As you see from the chart with me videos and some of the other things that I post, it's essentially support and resistance. I feel that some people come into trading and they think that there's some magic solution. There's literally so many ways to trade, and support and resistance is the thing that I love the most. So if that is what you're looking to do, then go ahead and check out this video right here where I'm literally, yes, take notes, I'm a fan of that. This is me going through what I do and how I do it on a weekly basis. Also, like I said, the chart with me videos like this also gives you that sense. So you have plenty of content on this channel so far in order to be able to improve on that. So another thing I'm looking to do is to focus on 1 or 2 markets, especially with more volatility. So as you can see, GJ is one of those markets with a lot of volume, a lot of volatility. US 30 is another one of those things as well. So I'm really loving a US 30. GJ is cool too, but a US 30, I'm really enjoying that so far. So just focusing right now, I'm looking at a whole bunch of markets, and I'm always trying to cut markets out because I want to maximize my gains. When you're looking at, one market, let's just say, you're able to really, over time, you're able to see patterns that you didn't see before. Not necessarily chart patterns like flags and stuff. I don't use that anymore because it's kind of equivalent to looking at the sky and looking at the clouds and being like, oh, I think that's a flag pattern. Oh, I think that's a symmetrical triangle, or whatever the things are. But basically, when you look at a market and you focus on that, you're able to understand how that market moves. And you're able to look at prices in the past, be like, oh, well, in the past it did this thing. I wonder if it's gonna do that thing again. And this is how it looked last time. So let me look for the same pattern this time and then capitalize on the market. So that's why I want to stick with just a couple of markets and just really, really know them well. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at so far in terms of how I'm planning to trade with a full-time job. And all of these things here will definitely help you on your journey. And if you like this video, go ahead and like it, comment, subscribe. I'm always reading that stuff, and I'll see you next time.